Okay, this session is being recorded. Okay, so going back. So under the negotiable instruments law, there are two kinds of negotiable instruments. One is a promissory note and the other is a check. A promissory note is one where the maker would ask for an extension of time to pay the amount due. No? I promise to pay X the amount of blank on or before blank, signed by the maker. No? So this is a promissory note. Whereas class, the other type of a negotiable instrument is
Ay, ito.
a
Oh.
bill of exchange.
Meron na pa yan? Wala, parang nabibingi ako.
Okay. A bill of exchange is where the drawer or the maker of the check will order another entity or another person to pay on behalf of the drawer. So in a bill of exchange, the payee is the drawee and not the drawer by himself. No? Unlike in the promissory note, the maker of the promissory note is merely asking for an extension of time or period of time within which to pay the amount due. In a negotiable instrument of a bill of exchange, there are three parties involved. The first one is the drawer. The drawer is the debtor. And then the second party is the payee, who is the creditor. And lastly, the drawee. The drawee is the one who is ordered by the drawer or the debtor to pay on behalf of himself. So in a bill of exchange, the person paying the check is the drawee and not the drawer. Okay. Now, when the drawee accepts the order or request to pay made by the drawer becomes an acceptor. Okay, an acceptor. Now, a check is a species of a bill of exchange. Now, it is a species of a bill of exchange. Now, in a check, the drawer is a depositor of the bank and the drawee is the bank itself. Now, check is a bill of exchange wherein the drawer will order the drawee bank to pay the payee named in the check. The payee again is the creditor, okay? Which is either payable to bearer or payable to order. Now, check is said to be a substitute for money, but for purposes of the law on obligation and contracts, a check is not a legal tender. Tandaan niyo yung class, ha? Diba you have learned under the law on obligation and contracts that check will not produce the effect of payment until after the check has been cashed. So until after a check is cashed, it does not produce the effect of payment. Which goes without saying that the creditor can refuse to accept the payment through checks. Kasi nga, it is not a legal tender. It may be a substitute for money, but it is not a legal tender, and therefore the creditor may refuse to accept a check. Okay. Now, so because of the issuance of checks, no, maraming mga tao ang naloko sa mga transactions or sa mga utang. No, because sometimes checks will be issued in payment of an obligation, but the check turned out to be worthless. The check turned out to be without sufficient funds. Or the account over which the check is being issued has been closed. So, ang tawag natin dyan, class, tumalbog ang cheque. No, literal. In English, bouncing checks. So, Batas Pambansa bilang 22 is also known as the bouncing checks law. No? Or the bouncing checks na tumalbog ang cheque. Now, kailan ba tatalbog ang cheque? Obviously, if it has no funds, no? Or if there are funds but it is insufficient, tatalbog din yan, no? Or if the account has been closed or account closed. Ibig sabihin, the depositor has opted to close the bank account and withdraw the money deposited therein. Okay. Now, BP 22 punishes a person for issuing a worthless check. No? A check is considered as worthless if at that time it is cash for payment, which must be made within 90 days from issuance, it has been dishonored by the issuing bank because of insufficiency of funds, or if the account has been closed. So take note, class, that under BP 22, a check must be deposited within 90 days from its issuance. 90 days or 3 months. Okay. Now, if you commit a violation of Batas Pambansa Bilang 22, you will be held liable for an imprisonment of 30 days to 1 year, or a fine. Class, yung fine, ibig sabihin yan multa. Or a fine, a double the value of the check, or both. So it can be imprisonment of 30 days to 1 year, or a fine, double the value of the check, or both. Okay. These are the penalties imposed in violation of BP 22. Now, class, take note that BP 22 is a criminal offense. It is a crime. Ang tawag natin dyan, class, it is a special penal law. No, it is called as a special penal law because, class, it is not contained under the revised penal code, but it is contained in a separate law, which is BP 22. Okay. Now, okay, let us go to another topic. Another manner in which a person becomes liable under BP 22 is when the issuer orders his or her bank to make a stop payment of the check without any valid reason, and the check would have been dishonored for the insufficiency of funds had it not been for the stop payment order given by the issuer. So class, pag nagbayad kayo through check, so halimbawa, nakita na ba kayo ng check?
Yes po.
Sige. Eto class, tatakpan ko na lang yung account number. Ito class, an example of a check. To those of you who might want to appreciate a check, yan. So lalagay mo yung amount in words, and then in figures, you have to write down the name of the payee, diba? And then you have to sign. So on top of your check is your account number and your account name. Okay. Now, class, pag nag-issue ka ng cheque sa creditor mo, nagbayad ka sa kanya. Pag nalaman mo, for example, bumili ka ng goods, dumating yung goods sa'yo, and the goods turn out to be defective or pwedeng peke yung binigay sa'yo. Di ba, usong-uso ngayon, class? Yung nag-order online, tapos ang dadating is hindi yung product na binili. Minsan, bato. Di ba? Okay. Now, for any reason, pwede mong tawagan yung bangko mo, sabihin mo, wag mong i-clear yung check ko. Okay, i-cancel mo yun. Na-issue ko yun, pero wag mong babayaran. Ang tawag doon, class, stop payment order. No, tatawagan mo yung branch mo kasi ikaw ang depositor, kilala ka nila eh. Sabihin mo, I have issued check number blank, etc. under the account number and account name, etc. Can you please refuse to acknowledge the payment Kasi class, pag nagbigay ka ng cheque, dalawa ang pwedeng gawin sa cheque. Pwede mong i-encash. When you say encash, pupunta ka sa bangko at ipapalit mo yung cheque sa cash. No? Or kung meron ka namang bank account, gusto mong i-deposit yung cheque na yon, ibibigay mo yung cheque na yon sa bangko mo, okay? And then, yung bangko mo ang i-inform doon sa issuing bank na i-credit yung amount ng check. Okay? The issuing bank is the drawee. Now, class, meron tayong 2 days or 3 days of clearing the checks. Kini-clear pa yung check, hindi yan automatic, hindi yan auto-debit katulad sa mga online payment or online banking. No? Pagka-check, class, dumadaan pa yan sa clearing. So, aabot pa yan ng 2 o 3 araw bago makredit doon sa account ng payee upon deposit. So, during the time that the check is being cleared or being processed for clearance, no? Meron pang window period. So, pwede pang i-cancel ng drawer yung cheque. Ang tawag doon, class, stop payment order. Now, question. If, for example, the issuer of the check, the drawer of the check, will call his bank to issue a stop payment order or to require the bank to refuse to acknowledge the check, will he be liable for BP22? Because obviously the check will bounce because the drawee will not acknowledge or recognize the check. The answer is it depends. No, if the stop payment order has been issued without any valid reason, then the drawer becomes liable for BP22. On the other hand, if the stop payment order has been made with valid reason, then he will not be liable for BP22. Take note, class, kasi kaya ako sinasabi sa inyo na yung cheque, hindi siya legal tender. Kasi nga, it does not produce the effect of payment until it is cashed or deposited or the amount cleared, no, or has been debited from the drawer's account. Kaya hindi siya legal tender kasi pwede mo pang bawiin yung cheque kahit na-issue mo na. Kahit na ibigay mo na yan sa creditor mo, pwede mo pa yung bawiin by calling your bank. And that is what you call stop payment order. Yan, maraming hindi nakakaalam yan. Akala nila, basta nag-issue ka na ng cheque, hindi mo na yung pwedeng bawiin kasi naibigay mo na. So kung ayaw mong mabayaran si payee, tawagan mo yung bangko mo, sabihin mo, wag babayaran, wag i-honor yung cheque. Kasi may mga check numbers yan, class. Okay. Okay. Now, class, minsan, nagkakaroon ng estafa. Kasi ganito yan. Minsan, may uutang sa'yo dahil wala siyang collateral, i-require mo siya mag-issue na lang ng cheque. Okay? Iniisip mo naman na pwede mo siyang pautangin kasi meron siyang bank account and sufficient money. No? Yung pala, yung cheque niya walang laman, tumalbog. So kapag naloko ka, nagpautang ka dahil naniniwala kang meron siyang pera, yung pala wala, ang tawag doon, class, estafa. Estafa kasi merong fraud, merong deceit. May pangloloko. Okay. Now, class, minsan, dalawa ang ifina-file ng complainants. Minsan, violation ng BP22 kasi tumalbog yung cheque, pero dahil niloko din siya ng drawer, aside from the fact that there was the bouncing of the checks issued to him or to her, dalawa ang ifina-file ng complainant. One is BP22 and another is estafa. Okay. Now, class, pag dinemanda ka for BP22, if a case is filed against you for Batas Pambansa Bilang 22, no? Pwede ka ring idemanda for estafa. Tandaan niyo ang class, ha? You can be indicted both for BP22 and estafa. Pag na-convict ka sa BP22, pwede ka pa rin ma-convict for estafa. Kasi these are two separate crimes. Two separate crimes. BP22, bouncing checks rather, is punished under BP22 while estafa is punished under Article 315 of the Revised Penal Code. Okay. So tandaan nyo, a single act may result to two different crimes. Isa ang galaw, isa ang commission of the act, pero dalawa ang resulting crime. So BP22 and prosecution for estafa. Okay. But take note, class, na kapag ka naka-recover ka na civilly, ibig sabihin nakuha mo na yung utang sa'yo under BP22, hindi ka na pwede ulit makasingil sa estafa. Isa lang ang pwede mong singilin. It's either the value of the check or the amount of the loan kung estafa. Amount involved in estafa if it is, for example, an investment money. Okay? Okay. Double recovery is not allowed by law. So I have reproduced below the provisions of BP22 for your perusal. So anyway, I will give you a copy of this one. You just read section 1 of the law. Ito yung mga diniscuss natin kanina. Okay. And then section 2. Okay, class. Yan kami dito sa office, meron kami hinawakang kaso ng BP22. Very, very recently. No bouncing checks. Fortunately, yung client namin was able to win the case. Papaano, class? Papaano siya nanalo? Totoo na talagang siya ang nag-issue ng cheque amounting to over 1 million pesos. No? Siya talaga ang nag-issue ng cheque. Pero kasi, class, no? BP22 is a technical law. No, it is governed by technical rules. No, I am referring to section 2 of BP22. Class, ganito 'yan. Hindi ko mo tumalbog ang cheque mo, makukulong ka na for BP22. Meron pang requirement, ha, aside from the bouncing of the check. Ano 'yon? Kailangan mong magpadala ng notice of dishonor. Kailangan mong i-inform yung drawer ng check na tumalbog ang kanyang cheque. Ang tawag doon, notice of dishonor. Ipapadala mo yun sa kanya. Ang sasabihin mo, kailangan mabayaran mo ang cheque na to within 5 banking days after notice. No? Otherwise, pag hindi mo yan binayaran, idedemanda kita for BP22. So, ayan, magpapadala ang abogado ng notice of dishonor or a demand letter. Na kailangan, within 5 days, bayaran mo tong check yung tumalbog. Kung hindi mo babayaran, idedemanda kita for BP22. Now, class, in the absence of a demand letter or a notice of dishonor, madi-dismiss ang kaso. If you fail to comply under Section 2, madi-dismiss ang kaso. Why? Kasi, class, hanggat hindi mo napapadalahan ng notice of dishonor si drawer, walang evidence na alam niya na walang pondo ang cheque. No, there will be insufficiency in evidence of the knowledge of insufficiency of funds by the drawer. So, class, tandaan nyo yan. Kapag tumalbog ang cheque, you have to send out a notice of dishonor, requiring the drawee to pay within 5 banking days after receiving notice that such check has not been paid by the drawee. So, class, question, kung walang notice of dishonor, does that mean na walang violation ng BP22? Pag hindi na-receive ang notice of dishonor? Does that mean that walang violation ng BP22? Answer, yes, yes, yes. So, dyan kami nanalo sa case. Kasi class, yung notice of dishonor na ipinadala ng payee, ng creditor, ay peke. Pinanotaryuhan sa peking notaryo. And worse, yung date ng contract ay pareho ng petsa ng date of notice of dishonor. Which is entirely incredible or improbable. Hindi pwedeng kung kailan ka ngayon ka umutang tapos ngayon din nagpapadala ng demand letter or notice of dishonor. So, peke ang notice of dishonor. Walang notice of dishonor, which is why the case got dismissed. Acquitted siya for the crime of BP22. Okay. Okay. Kasi class, pag tumalbog yung cheque, lalagyan niya ng tatak ng bangko eh. May tatak nakalagay, account closed or DAIF. O sinabing DAIF, drawn against insufficient funds. Kung nakinig kayo ng lecture ko sa Law on Negotiable Instruments, na andyan yan. Okay. Kung hindi kayo nakapanood ng lecture ko sa Law on Negotiable Instruments, you can access through the website of LCRC, Facebook page rather, ng LCRC. Para maintindihan ninyo how checks work. Okay. Sige. So, yan yung sinasabi dyan. Pag pinasend mo yung cheque at walang pondo, the bank will stamp the check. Tatatakan ng bangko. No? Nakalagay doon, account closed or DAIF, drawn against insufficient funds. Okay. Kasi class, pag winidraw mo lahat ng pera sa bangko, magko-close yan, di ba? So, account closed. Okay. Okay. I want you to memorize this portion, class. Take note, memorize. Memorize these options. Portion, rather. Class, yung naka-highlight sa screen ninyo, iyan ang defenses sa BP22. When you say defenses, that means hindi magiging liable si drawer despite the bouncing of the checks. Number 1, payment of the value of the dishonored check within 5 banking days from receipt of notice of dishonor. Halimbawa, tumalbog ang cheque mo, natanggap mo yung notice of dishonor, pinagbabayad ka within 5 banking days from receipt of the notice. And then nagbayad ka within 5 banking days, hindi ka na pwedeng idemanda for BP22. Kasi nabayaran mo na yung amount ng check. Okay? So if you have paid the check, the value of the check, within 5 banking days, hindi ka na pwedeng idemanda for BP22. No, wala nang violation of BP22. Now, second, payment of the value of the check before filing of the criminal case in court. Eto, class. Halimbawa, hindi ka nakapagbayad within 5 banking days from receipt of the notice of dishonor, but you were able to pay the value of the check before the case is filed in court. Kasi ganito yan, class. Kapag tumalbog ang cheque, si client pupunta kay lawyer. And then si lawyer magpapadala ng notice of dishonor. And then mag-aantay siya ng 5 days from receipt of notice of dishonor. Now, hindi na bayaran within 5 banking days. So si lawyer magdadraft pa yan ng complaint. Ida-draft niya pa yung complaint. I-allege niya pa kung ano nangyari, ano yung underlying transaction between the parties. Okay? Now, habang dinadraft niya yung complaint, biglang nagbayad si drawer of the value of the check. Pero hindi mo pa na-file yung case sa court. Pero lagpas na yung 5 banking days. Question, can you still file a complaint for BP22? Answer, no, no, no. Kahit lumampas na yung deadline of 5 banking days in the notice of dishonor, if you pay If you pay the value of the check within 5 banking days, then you will not be held liable for BP 22. Kasi nabayaran mo na bago ka pa mademanda. Okay. Now, number 3, failure to serve a written notice of dishonor of the check to the issuer. Class, ito yung naging ground kung bakit na-acquit si client. Kasi walang notice of dishonor. Or at least, yung notice of dishonor is dubious. When you say dubious, it is suspicious. It is incredible. It is hard to believe. Yan. Pag hindi ka nakapagpadala ng written notice of dishonor of the check, madi-dismiss ang kaso, ma-acquit si drawer. Okay. Now, novation or change in the underlying obligation of the parties before the filing of the criminal case in court. Class, you go back again on the law on obligation and contracts. Diba sinabi ko na sa inyo noon, Oblicon, this is the most useful law, business law. Kasi class, ang Oblicon gagamitin nyo sa halos lahat no, ng commercial law. Now, you remember the concept of novation. Novation is one of the modes by which obligations are extinguished. Di ba? Alala nyo, class? Okay. Now, class, halimbawa, nag-issue ka ng cheque, tumalbog, nagpadala ka ng notice of dishonor, hindi nagbayad within 5 banking days. Tapos, nagmakaawa sa'yo ang drawer. Sabi niya, wag mo naman akong idemanda, babayaran naman kita, gipit lang ako sa pera ngayon. Naawa naman si payee creditor. Sabi niya, sige, bibigyan pa ulit kita ng 1 buwan. Pero gusto ko, magpirmahan tayo ng kontrata. Let us execute a contract or an agreement. Nag-execute sila ng agreement, class, sa pagbabayad ng utang. In other words, contract of loan after the check bounced. Now, question. Halimbawa, after the lapse of 30 days, hindi na naman nabayaran ng cheque. Can the creditor still pay the amount of money? Can the creditor still file a complaint for BP 22? The answer is no. Kasi nagkaroon na ng novation. Tandaan nyo, class, di ba sa novation, 2 klase yan? Isang express novation, isang implied novation. Pag express novation, the parties categorically declare that they are abandoning the old contract and executing a new contract. Di ba, alala niya yung class? Express and implied. Okay. Now, ang implied novation naman is that when there are 2 contracts executed by the parties, but they cannot stand together. They are entirely, absolutely, and on all 4 corners, incompatible. They cannot stand with each other. Okay? Now, if these 2 obligations, these 2 contracts cannot stand together, the new contract will take the place of the old contract. The new contract will extinguish the old contract. Yan ang novation. Now, class, if the parties have executed a contract of loan for the payment of the check, after the check bounced, and after service of notice of dishonor, nagkaroon na ng novation. Ibig sabihin, class, whatever liability, whatever undertaking the parties had previous to the contract of loan, which is BP 22, no, the issuing of the check, it has been extinguished. Napalitan na siya ng contract of loan. A contract of loan, class, is civil in nature. Hindi yan krimen. Kaya nga wala nakukulong sa utang. Kasi nga, hindi yan krimen. No? So, the execution of a contract of loan, the execution of contract of loan after the bouncing of the check will have the effect of extinguishment of the rights and obligations under BP 22. So, napapalitan na siya. Okay? Okay. Number 5 is stop payment order pursuant to a valid reason such as non-delivery of goods and services. Okay. So, class, halimbawa, umorder ka online, hindi mo naman natanggap, okay, natanggap mo, ang laman, bato. Pag nag-stop payment order ka, hindi ka liable for BP 22. Kasi, class, may valid reason for the stop payment order. Okay. Now, number 6 is knowledge by the payee that the check was not supported by sufficient funds when the issuer issued the check. So, class, pag alam na ni creditor na, ikaw, bibigyan kita ng cheque. Pero itong cheque na to, wala tong pondo o kulang pa ang pondo nito. Popondohan ko pa to, wag mo munang ide-deposit. Na pag na-prove ni drawer, na alam ni payee na wala naman talagang funds iyon, no? The drawer is not liable for BP 22 kasi sinabi niya, no? Sinabi niya kay payee, alam ni payee na walang sufficient funds yung cheque. So memorize all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 these instances wherein the drawer will not be liable for BP 22 despite the bouncing of the checks. Tandaan nyo yan, class. Memorize, memorize. Okay, class. We also studied under the law on obligation and contracts the concept of prescriptive period. Ano ba yung prescriptive period, class? Ang prescriptive period, class, this is the period of time within which pag nag-lapse na yan, no, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-file ng complaint in court. So class, ang BP 22, pwede mo lang siyang i-file within 4 years from presentation of the check for payment. So tandaan niya, bawa, nakalipas na yung 4 na taon na i-deposit mo yung yung check. Hindi ka na pwedeng mag-file ng BP 22 kasi nag-prescribe na siya. Kaya ang titignan nyo, class, yung date of presentation of the check for payment. If the check has been presented for payment in 2020, for example, 2024, at hindi ka pa nag-file ng complaint for BP 22, nag-prescribe na yun. Hindi ka na pwedeng mag-file ng criminal complaint for BP 22. But you can still file a civil case for collection of sum of money. So tandaan nyo, ang nawawala lang, ang nagpre-prescribe lang, class, yung BP 22 as a crime. Hindi ka na pwedeng magdemanda ng complaint for BP 22. Pero pwede mo pa ring singilin yung utang. Kasi iba ang prescription ng utang. Diba? Pag oral or written contract, magkaiba ang prescriptive period. So, hindi mo susundin yung 4 years. The 4-year period will only pertain to prescription of action of a criminal complaint rather for BP 22. Okay? Now, take note of Supreme Court Administrative Circular number 12-2000 wherein klase ngayon, kapag na-convict ka ng BP 22, hindi na ipinapakulong. No, ang ginagawa ng court, nag-i-impose na lang ng penalty or fine. Tandaan yan. In case of good faith or clear mistake of fact without taint or negligence. So this ends our discussion for BP 22 or Batas Pambansa bilang 22. So I will stop the recording here and we will go back for estafa or Article 315. Okay.